The former general manager of Cameroon Railway, Cam Rai, has appeared in court for the first time in Ezeka, Nyong and Kele division over 1 year after the Ezeka train accident. The legal representative of victims say it was a criminal act what happened on the 21st of October 2016. In this edition of the newscast, we tell you how 2 persons have been hospitalized after yesterday's fuel spillage in Douala 1 municipality. We take you to the Cameroon Investment Forum taking place in the economic capital Douala, where local and foreign investors have urged the government to put in place a conducive atmosphere for business to take place in the country. This and more will be yours. Good evening, I am Fouan Sinchanji. Thanks for joining me in this 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. We are broadcasting live from Douala, Cameroon, Equinoxe Central News Desk. I told in the top stories, though the toxic hydrocarbon smell that woke up residents of Ngodi around 2 a.m. local time Wednesday, that was yesterday, from slumber is gradually disappearing. About 2 persons have been hospitalized so far. A woman who was a pregnant lady who was hospitalized together with another lady. Our reporter Innocent Aze went back to the Ngodi neighborhood here in Akwa and came back with the following story.
The pungent smell from the hydrocarbon chemical spillage that intensified and intoxicated the Ngodi quarter here in the Douala 2 subdivision early Wednesday is gradually diminishing. Visiting the area precisely, the Ngodi stream early Thursday, where the chemical assumed by part of the population to be fuel accumulated, nearby residents hinted us that the spillage had stopped. Reason why none of the fuel scramblers yesterday was seen. Even the toxic smell they added has reduced.
It don't go small. I know the smell like yesterday.
What they regret is the effects of the toxic smell on some residents after inhaling it. According to this woman, an expectant mother fell into forced labor as a result of being intoxicated by the smell of the hydrocarbon chemical, which also saw her vomiting and later giving birth in a hospital. Kids also showed signs of discomfort. To Mr. Joseph, his daughter is currently being admitted in the hospital for health complications provoked by the bad smell. He himself has been weakened by the scent from efficiently walking. Still in fear, some of the women say they were and are still compelled to lit fire to prepare food late in the afternoon for fear it might spark off flames in the quarter. They cook only in the afternoon and evening periods when the smell drops. They equally fear food intoxication. The inhabitants of Ngodi Quarter still wish authorities take concrete measures to prevent the spillage of the liquid from a yet to be identified source, such that residents in the neighborhood will not be victims of a fire disaster like was the case in the locality of Sam in Yaoundé Central region few years ago that saw many lives perished.
The former general manager of Cameroon Railway, Cam Rai, has appeared in court for the first time in Ezeka, Nyong and Kele division after the Ezeka train accident, which occurred on the 21st of October 2016, though the case has been adjourned. Legal representative of the victim said the incident was a criminal act by authorities of Cameroon. Details the following report. The epilogue of the Ezeka train accident is yet to be written. Over 1 year after the incident occurred, authorities of Cameroon Railway and legal teams of victims are still in court. Former GM Didier Van den Bong and his mate, who were absent during the first hearing, answered present Wednesday in Ezeka, Nyong and Kele division in the Central region.
Nous remercions déjà le tribunal qui nous avait suivis
We thank the court in Ezeka for making sure that the two accused answer present in the box to explain why they knew that the train was in a bad state but allowed it to transport that number of persons on October 21st. During the hearing Wednesday, the present GM pleaded not guilty as a victim. Now Equinoxe testify together with an expert. The expert explains that the technicians knew about the technical nature of the train but allowed it to transport hundreds of passengers. A legal representative describes this as criminal act. The court session lasted for 7 hours and adjourned to a later date after lawyers demanded that families of those missing will have to appear in court to testify. Now we talk about the Cameroon Investment Forum, in which foreign and local investors have urged the government to improve on the investment landscape to enhance development and industrialization. They spoke to our reporter Babila Jonathan during the Cameroon Investment Forum ongoing in the economic capital, Douala. Babila?
Investing in Cameroon remains an uphill task to both local and foreign investors. This is because of several setbacks plaguing the country's business climate.
The challenges that we have at the moment is financing. Financing the promoters, financing the end users. The financing process is very slow and is very cumbersome. So if that bottleneck can be reduced or streamlined in a way, then I think that it would be a better way to have many people on the platform.
For us as the diaspora, one of the key issues in terms of an enabling environment is tax incentives. If you examine what other countries have done in terms of their real estate, they provided tax incentives for any national who lives abroad who wants to bring in investment money into the real estate sector, for example. And that is why, in conjunction with NGN Homes, we're already going ahead by signing an agreement with a view to dialoguing with the authorities to assist in creating that enabling environment, and the tax incentive is one of them.
And this is why the second edition of the Cameroon Investment Forum taking place in Douala is focusing on linking project promoters and technical financial partners for development of local industries and the attraction of direct foreign investment.
We're here to tell foreign investors Cameroon has a development plan, an industrial development plan, which is in place and which they have to come aboard to see that this moves. We need to link investors to people who have palpable, concrete and bankable projects. We have done that. We have selected from 500 projects, we've selected about 25. These are local industries. They are local Cameroonian enterprises that we have selected.
Local investors, notably those in the private sector, and foreign investors, including Cameroonians in the diaspora, are thus looking forward to a more favorable business climate that will guarantee and enhance their investments in different sectors of the country's economy.
On our future page, traveling from Bokmakak in the Nyong and Kele division to Bumiabel is a veritable nightmare to commuters who have to brave the odds to travel with their goods to different localities. Our reporter, Catherine Kone, tells us in the following report that the locals are calling on the government to do something as far as the reconstruction of that road is concerned.
The roads from Bokmakak in the Nyong and Kele division to Bumiabel is in a very bad state, especially when it rains. With thick mud causing vehicles to get stuck for several hours. The inhabitants say activities have been paralyzed because the roads have been blocked. Transport fare has equally increased. A distance of 18 kilometers which they used to pay 1,000 francs CFA, but now they are obliged to pay 2,500 francs CFA.
Cette entreprise qui devait commencer les travaux depuis le mois de mai, juin, ne l'a pas fait jusqu'aujourd'hui.
According to the DO, Post Alex Francis, the poor state of the road is blamed on the abandonments by some contractors who, after winning the contract to construct the roads, disappeared. He added that they are still unable to know the name of the contractors in charge.
J'ai même pris la décision d'interdire la circulation de camions de plus de 7 tonnes.
The dean of Botmaka went on to say he tried stopping the heavy-duty trucks transporting cocoa from using the stretch of roads, assuming they were the major cause of the bad roads. Botmakak is one of the villages in the Yongankele division producing cocoa, but is plagued with bad roads to transport its products to the market. The deplorable state of the roads, according to the population, has been in this ugly state for several years without reconstruction.
Did you know sickle cell anemia could be treated? Well, we have someone who will be testifying in this edition of the news. That is why my guest tonight is Charlotte Cheji. She'll be telling us how she witnessed the treatment of a patient with sickle cell anemia, just for you tonight. We'll continue with our feature page to tell you that the government primary school, Sanke Baneng, in the west region of the country is in ruins. Dilapidated structures have been abandoned as pupils are now studying under precarious conditions. Innocent Aze paints a picture of that institution.
Government primary school Sinte Baleng is situated 16 kilometers from the town of Bafusam. Accommodation of pupils in this 14-year-old establishment is indeed precarious. The 6 classes are hosted by these 2 blocks, one of which had collapsed last year. Class 1 and Class 2 are merged in a single classroom, while Class 3 and 4 are grouped in this classroom, while Classes 5 and 6 in another, making a total of 6 classrooms hosting pupils of various classes. Blackboards are set up opposite direction of each classroom, and a teacher teaches both classes systematically. When it is time for the same subject, lecture is general. On the contrary, he is obliged to give exercise to another class while teaching or lecturing the other. From the creation of this school in 2003, it has been declining rather than progressing. Government seems not to be aware of the existence of the school. Away from the collapsed walls, the roof looks more of a trap to teachers and pupils. What frightens her more in this classroom is the setting and exposure. There are no windows. The roof is made of bamboos, which can fall at any moment on them during lesson. During the rainy season, the classrooms are inundated and the traditional floors become muddy, with teachers compelled to engage in manual labor before proceeding with the teaching and learning processes.
Following day, we'll just sweep it and continue our classes.
The headmaster occupies this office, which he himself says cannot invite a colleague or friend due to its deplorable state and lack of chairs. Everything found in a normal primary school is lacking in the school. No textbooks, didactic materials, offices, and lot more. Only 3 parents are part of the PTA. It is under them that the school was built, and lack of government support now leaves it in a dangerous and dilapidated state.
Comme vous voyez, les bâtiments sont tels que les parents ont fait.
Parents fear to send their kids here. The number of pupils attending the school keeps dropping yearly, and there is fear government's primary school Sinte Baleng will in the nearest future become history.
We've come to the end of the first segment of this news. Join my guest and I for the second part. Good evening once again. My guest tonight is Charlotte Cheji. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
It's a pleasure having you tonight.
Nice to have me.
On set now. We should say you are a nurse?
I'm a secretary, medical secretary.
Okay, but the same. You are
I'm in the medical field.
Now, what do you know about sickle cell anemia?
Okay, what I know about sickle cell anemia is I have a daughter that she was born sickle cell, and she had, after 8 years that she was born, she had a bone marrow transplant, and she's been cured. It's been 7 years that she's been cured. So I just want to let people know that we have hope. Don't just lose hope, and give love to those kids, because most of parents, they believe, oh, after 21 years, after 18 years, they're going to die. No.
Yes, but before we come there now, tell us what happened, how it happened with your daughter, that she was cured.
Okay, what they did, the bone marrow transplant is to get the bone marrow from the siblings, which was a match. Because you have to, you go through the lab and they check the blood and see if the match is compatible. So then the patient receive the bone marrow from the siblings, which was a match for the patient. So that's how she get the cure.
But we understand that it could be expensive. She did that in the U.S.?
Yes, she did that in the U.S.
So what about the common Cameroonian who, a farmer in Cameroon who has a child suffering from sickle cell anemia?
It's just to let them know that there is a hope somewhere. Maybe one day it will be able, doctors will be able to do that in Cameroon also, because there are things that they never knew that they're going to do it in Cameroon, but now they are doing it. Just tell parents that there is hope. They should give love to those kids, and there is hope somewhere coming.
So how was the procedure like with your child? Tell us the experience, how you felt, how the family felt.
Yeah, the procedure was when she was born, she had crisis, which is the pain, the joint pain, and all the time she was admitted. And parents that when they have kids with sickle cell, they know what I'm talking about, because it's a disease that really is really bad for the kid. When the child was born, she was diagnosed with sickle cell, and the sickle cell is a trait from both parents, which is AS and AS. So you have a possibility to have a kid with sickle cell, SS or AA or AS. So out of 5 kids, you may have 2 kids with sickle cell. So that's how the disease goes. And in America now, they give cure for kids with sickle cell.
Okay.
So
when did that happen? When did that begin? Is it it has been existing, or is it just something new?
It's not new. It's been existing. It's just that people don't know that they have that is happening. So I just want to let them know that it's been happening. And when my daughter was 8, she had the chance to get the bone marrow transplant that year. It's been 7 years that she's been cured. How much did it cost you? I cannot tell you the price, because I myself, I don't know. The patient, she's an American, and she had the insurance given by the U.S. So I don't really know how much it can cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, when you discovered that sickle cell anemia could be cured, you thought of Cameroon.
Yep.
What about that? Okay,
I thought about Cameroon, and I created a foundation that I work in one of the biggest hospitals that they give me medical supplies, and I gave to kids with sickle cell. So last year in 2 years ago, I gave toys to kids with sickle cell at Centre Dépensittaire de la Cantine. So I'm working through to help those in need, because I have the foundation, and what I do, I try to help those who didn't have the chance, like my daughter. So to share that pain that most of parents are going through.
Will this help not be very useful? Will it not be concrete if you bring doctors who can treat sickle cell anemia to Cameroon?
It's just the beginning, so I cannot just say I'm going to do it, but there is hope. I just started, and I think in the future it may happen. So I just started, and I'm talking with doctors over there to see how they can help those kids here in Cameroon.
Now, an advice to maybe young couples who are out there, how should they go about it to avoid situations like this?
Okay, what I can tell new couples, make sure that you tested before you get married, and the test is the electrophorex, the hemoglobin. You make sure that you are not RS and your husband is not RS. So both couples should make sure that before they get married or before they have kids, they make sure that they don't have, because it's a genetic disease. So we can avoid it by testing ourselves, making sure that we are not carriers. And when we are carriers, we have a lot of chance to give those kids with sickle cell.
Now, have you had statistics concerning Cameroon, the number of sickle cell patients? Have you been able to gather some of the statistics?
Not yet.
Situation?
Not yet. In 2015, when I came, you know, sometime when I come in, time is not, I don't have that much time, but I'm working towards that possibility.
Now, how does it feel like living with somebody with sickle cell?
Living with a patient with sickle cell is really hard. They need to drink a lot of water. They need to take their medication, because sometimes they are in severe pain, and which led them to a lot of crisis, pain that is really hard to endure. But most of the time, you just need to give them, make sure that they eat good. They drink a lot of water, which it helps them flush their system. So that's what I would advise parents to do with their kids.
Okay, so as you are living today, you are living with hope that in the years or months ahead, there will be something great for Cameroonian patients who live with sickle cell. Is that what you are assuring them?
Yeah, there is always hope when you believe that anything is possible with God. So I believe that I'm working towards a lot of situation, how I can help, bring those doctors, or, you know, make a campaign. If there is any way those doctors can come and give help to those kids. And there is hope.
All right. Okay, Charlotte Cheji, it was a pleasure having you tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It was equally a pleasure being with you in tonight's edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for watching. Good night.